Well, hello. I don't know where you are and the part of the world in which you live, but good morning or good evening. My name is Stephen Hairfield. I am also known as an American monk because I spent many years studying not only with the Zen tradition, but also the Tibetan tradition. I'm going to do a series of videos on the idea of 2012 and what we can anticipate. Some call it a pole shift, others call it the end times. I can certainly assure you it has nothing to do with end times. Major change, major shift, certainly. But the end of time, that's not possible. And if for no other reason, if we think about the idea of infinity, um, infinity has no beginning, it has no center, and it has no end. So the end times is an absolute misnomer. Even when you look at the idea presented by Revelation, if you look at simply the word revelation and then look at the definition, it has nothing to do with end. It means realized or to be revealed. And there's much that's going to be revealed. Do you feel like something is about to happen? Do you feel like time has sped up? Are you waking up at the wee hours of the morning? All of these are signs of a major shift. Some have even termed it as awakening to 0 point. And I'm going to attempt to explain all of that in the series of videos that I'm in the process of presenting to you now. This is the first. What is 2012? What is that really all about? Is it real? Well, that remains to be seen because December the 21st, 2012 is the date given by the ancient Maya on the shift of the ages, so to speak. Um, and as we progress, we're going to talk about the world and then the human experience of this. We have to remember something, that we are energy first. And as the energy fields of our reality begin to shift, it's going to have a major impact on absolutely everything, whether it's a rock, whether it's a tree, um, no matter what, it's going to affect it. So us being energetic first, the last part of us that's going to be impacted by these changes is going to be our physiological self and even the way that we think and behave. In this shift, I've had the opportunity of studying every major prophet, so to speak, that you can think of. The first time that I actually saw this, I was around the age of 8. I was out in the backyard playing, as I recall. And all of a sudden, the ground began to shake and then began to move. And it was so real to me that I actually fell on the ground, as I recall. I went screaming, running into the house to tell my parents. And of course, they thought I had lost it. Maybe so. But as I recall, that's the first time I had that experience. And if I've seen it once since that time, I've seen it many, many times throughout the years. So much so that I began to study ancient prophets and prophecies such as the Maya, the Hopi traditions, the Merlin prophecies, the Oracle of Delphi, Nostradamus, and amongst many, many others. What I began to notice was common threads in all of these prophecies that seemed to match the very visions that I have been seeing the vast majority of my life. All of that being said, what I'm going to share with you is this. We used to think that time was linear, and maybe it was, but according to Einstein, time is an arc, and we know through geometry that an arc is any portion of a circle, which means that time is going to meet itself, and that's the idea of 2012. Let's call it the pangs of birth when we look at our world today. When you look at places or events like Tunisia, even Egypt, we could say it's turmoil. In a sense, of course, it is. But what it's doing is it's shaking the very foundations of our belief systems. It's showing the significance and the importance of the individual. So, to a great extent, we're seeing an awakening, a different thing that we haven't seen in, well, in what we could call our modern world. What we're actually seeing is an evolutional leap of humankind. We're seeing the awakening of full divine consciousness in every single human. As these energy fields begin to change, it gives us the sense that time is speeding up. I know Al Gore termed it as global warming. I like to say, no, it's global warning. Mother Earth is attempting to tell us of the times that we're faced with, and we have an interesting path and an interesting journey that we're all going to walk. It cannot be avoided. That being said, what we're seeing, as already shared with you, is the awakening of human. This is not the first time it's happened. According to the field of geophysics, they tell us that the poles have moved at a minimum, and they're still counting and figuring it out, at 171 times. Based on that, we're looking at the 172nd time. And that's the reason that I personally feel it's a very exciting time to be alive, because of the experiences that we're going to have. There's a lot that we're going to have to shed, concepts, beliefs, institutions even, and the way that we even live. And as I've already said, as I progress through this series of videos, I'm going to share those with you. What I'm attempting to do in this video is set things up. Because you see, people, as already stated, have said this is a pole shift, a shift of the magnetic fields. In fact, I don't even know if you know it or realize it. But according to the field of sciences, the North Pole, this year alone, in the past 12 months, has moved a distance of 40 miles. And it's moving south-southeast. What does that mean? It means the poles are taking up a new position, both North and South Pole, of course. But that's not the real dynamic of it. We can call it a pole shift, we can call it awakening to 0 point, but what if it's a shift of polarities? The shift of polarities, in essence, just simply means a shift in the way that energetics and our reality operate. And of course, we're going to shift with it, and there's not a thing that any human being can do about it. Will everybody be able to make this shift? That remains to be seen. But I can assure you, it's going to impact everything, and that we already see going on around us. As individuals, more and more, as time progresses, begin to exert themselves as individuals. You see, today, in our modern world, the individual has very, very little meaning whatsoever. It's all about the institutions. It's about the governments. It's about the corporations. No, it really isn't. The individual goes simply ignored. And that's why we're seeing individuals coming together and exerting themselves to mirror the change that the energetic streams are actually carrying out for us. So you see, the idea of 2012 is a shift. It's this total shift in the way, as already shared, that we live, think, and communicate and express. Imagine, if you will, a world filled with divine creatures, a world where it's nothing but peace, a world where there's no such thing as laws, where there's no such thing as police, military, weapons. Imagine a world where there's no such thing as homeless, a world where there's no such thing as possibly death or even illness. And I assure you, that has been talked about in all of the prophecies that I've read, which includes the biblical text. Take a look at Mark 13 for yourself and read it, because it even says in Mark 13 that in that time you will even overcome death. Nostradamus shared that with us, amongst many others. You see, we're coming to a point where we're about to step into the greatest idea that we could be. We've been living in a finite reality for millennia now, and finite reality is an illusion. It's not real. We are as infinite can be, and we are about to experience infinity as living beings. So you could say, to an extent, that what we're witnessing is a birth, or rebirth, or a remaking of humankind into a completely different, wonderful dynamic of being, where there will be no such thing as lawlessness. In fact, you could say that going on right now is the universe is attempting to remove all levels of darkness within the human being. What is darkness anyway? It's the idea of anger, frustration, hatred, war, deceit, greed, an ego-dominated world. Well, we're about to have the universe sublimate our egos and turn them from the idea of darkness into divine. That's going to be our experience in the long run. And it's going to be my attempt over the next few series of these videos to attempt to get all people to maybe awaken or understand or appreciate what we are about to experience. Let me ask you a seemingly silly question. If I were to ask you, what color is the sun? Most people tell me it's yellow. No, not any longer. The second Tuesday of October 2009, the sun changed colors. It went from yellow to white. I know because on Monday of that week, I was watering my front yard, and on Tuesday of that very same week, I went out to water the flower beds, and it just seemed to be intensely bright to me, extremely bright. And I turned around, glanced up, and I was floored. How many of you have actually looked at the sun recently? Doesn't it seem to be brighter, intensely brighter out in daylight now? Take a look for yourself and see what you think. And I can share with you that on the third Tuesday of last October, it even intensified. So what's that all about? Why would the sun all of a sudden change colors? And by the way, go to NASA's website. They're really studying the sun right now, attempting to figure out what's going on with it. So they know, the field of the sciences know it has shifted. But do you? That's the question. If it's turned neon white, that color to me means we are being inundated by divine vibration. Literally, the vibration of creation. That's why I sense and feel that we are about to begin operating in a new set of dynamics in our reality. So the idea of 2012 is not about death and destruction. Oh, sure, that's probably going to be part of it because of what we're going to experience in it. But in the long run, those that are able to withstand the vibrations are going to experience a brand new paradigm. My sense tells me that today, and is in alignment with a lot of the ancient prophecies have stated, that I lost my train of thought right there. Oh, by the way, the exciting news is I've got my camera under control, so you won't see any more floating heads. So I think that's pretty nice. What these prophecies are all saying is we're moving into a period of no time. Now think about that. And I'm not the only one that has seen that and experienced that. Are you all losing blocks of time? Do you find periods of time that you don't remember? That's all part of it. You see, in the idea of polarity shift, what if, and I'll expand more on this later, but what if we go from left brain ways and schools of thought to right brain? How are you going to operate? Are you really ready for that kind of a shift? If you're interested at all, Google Jill Bolte, B-O-L-T-E, Taylor, and listen to her experience. She's also written a book called A Stroke of Insight, where she literally lost the use for a period of 8 years of her ability to use logic, and she stepped into right brain only. You see, in a polarity shift, that's a very real possibility that we can shift from the predominant left brain school of thought into right brain. Um, that'll be an interesting dynamic to experience. And I'm just simply going to ask you to consider that as a possibility. But do check out Jill Bolte Taylor, and I think you'll see what I mean. That, to me, um, gives us insight into what we're all going to experience. Prophecy states that, and including Revelation, by the way, that we will experience 3 days of darkness. Of course, Hollywood has always portrayed that as death, gloom and doom, and war, and smoke and ash. But if we look into the field of psychology, darkness has a different meaning. It means the potential of levels of darkness of mind. Psychology says that people that have levels of insanity have a darkened mind. Well, for a short period of time, we could experience that. I hope you appreciate the message that I'm offering today, and please visit my website at www.hairfield.com. You can find out what my background is like and what it's all about. This is just the beginning of my series on the idea of 2012, and I'll attempt to post a follow-up on this each and every week, and as things begin to shift, the dynamics begin to change, I'll update it as we move closer. Remember, that date is December the 21st, 2012. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.